Sorry I can't be with you today, but thanks for you very much for letting me talk to you about Smashing Boundaries, the exhibition that COVGAR, which is Carmarthenshire Museum and Arts Service, created on Carmarthenshire Women in Sport, and we produced in collaboration with the Park Howard Museum's young curators and with grant funding from Sporting Heritage. So the exhibition it's still running, is a community-led exhibition celebrating Carmarthenshire's inspiring sportswomen. And it showcases the stories of determination, achievement and breaking barriers within sports. It was co-curated by young people aged 16 to 24, and it was off the back of a launch event that we ran at Park Howard Museum with Active Leisure, which is the council's leisure service, and Scarlet's Rugby Club, which is a very famous rugby club in Llanelli, where Park Howard is. So the exhibition is actually the result of a volunteer who started researching and writing the exhibition way back before COVID and the lockdown, inspired by a cousin of hers who you can see in this slide, who is Lynn Thomas, a very successful cricket player who achieved the title of Sportsman of the Year. As you can see by that headline, Sportsman of the Year is a woman. That was Lynn Thomas, and it was the first time it had happened. So she was a very successful cricketer, record-breaking cricketer. She came from Llanelli. Is very well known locally, but her achievements have sort of been overshadowed in Llanelli by the rugby clubs, who achieve a lot more attention, not only within the town, but also within our collections. And this was something that Hannah wanted to put right. And she started to research, and the more she researched, the more amazing women she discovered from Carmarthenshire, specifically from Llanelli and the Llanelli area. And so the exhibition was the result of that research, although it came several years later after COVID had gone. So what you can see just below the picture of Lynn is the call out we put to our community through the launch event and through our website and through our social media, asking for people to give us the stories of incredible sportswomen, or sportswomen that had inspired them in the local community that they wanted to see in this exhibition. So the exhibition, as we said, was to highlight underrepresented voices in sport. We wanted to inspire another generation of athletes, of female athletes. We wanted to explore local heritage through the personal stories of these sportswomen, but we also wanted to develop youth-led museum practices, and this was new to us, something that we'd been wanting to do for some time, and this seemed like the perfect opportunity. It wasn't a huge project. It was quite contained within a good interesting subject area that we thought young people would be interested in, and was a good way to test out how we could incorporate young people's voices and get them involved in the curatorial process so that we could co-curate exhibitions in the future. So the young curators were a group of 16 to 24-year-old young women, and we didn't just ask for women, but that's what we ended up with. Obviously, they were particularly inspired by the subject area from Carmarthenshire. They were recruited through outreach to local colleges, community groups and social media, and we created with them a schedule of training. So we did an introductory day where they came along and we introduced ourselves and we discussed the project. We had a volunteer talk to them who was a relative of one of the sports people we had already identified, and she went through the objects in the collection that we had relating to that person and told stories relating to them. And we then asked them to tell us what interested them about the project, what they wanted to get out of it, and we worked on creating a schedule of training with them and future workshops, which we then ran over the course of about 3 months. So in the end, this included training in curating, interviewing, filming, editing, research, storytelling and object handling. So over the next couple of weeks after the introductory session, they arranged interviews with local sportswomen that they were interested in. We helped them get in contact with them, and they went on to film interviews with them. They took photographs. They helped to edit panels using the research that we did with them. They wrote labels. They edited their films. They collaborated with me over exhibition layout and content, and they spoke at the opening event. They also ran a panel at the opening event. And wherever possible, we followed their lead. So they were amazing. They were very outspoken. They knew what they wanted to do, and they told us what they wanted to do, which was fabulous. And so we had no problems in letting them tell us how we should proceed with the project. So this is one of the sheets of sort of workshopping that we did with them, asking them what they were interested in, what outcomes they wanted, and what did they want to achieve through the project. There were lots of these sheets that we scribbled notes down on and they wrote down on. So as I said, they selected and interviewed the sportswomen they were interested in, and they chose the topics that they wanted to talk about. They chose the questions. So this includes career journeys, challenges and achievements. They were particularly interested in the challenges as women, and who were very aware of the history of women in sport, and of the barriers that they may have had to overcome. This was the area that they most wanted to focus on. They were also interested in inclusion, diversity, and also understanding the real stories. So not just the achievements and the highlights of the women's sporting stories, but actually, like I said, what were the difficulties they faced. And then they were involved in an opening event that we ran with a panel made up of some of the sportswomen they'd interviewed, as well as people from the Women's Archive of Wales, and our community engagement officer also sat on the panel. But they came up with the questions and they initiated that panel discussion. So the end exhibition had all of these amazing women in it and is still running at Park Howard as we speak and will be into the next year. And so some of the ones that the women that they chose and they wanted to interview particularly were Tonia Antoniazzi, who's also a local Labour MP, Megan Fox, who is a very young, incredible jiu-jitsu fighter competing for Wales. I think she's about 13 years old. Lisa Pudner, who actually works for the council and within the leisure centres, who's a powerlifter who competed with the Paralympics. Fionn Morgan, who's currently representing Wales in the football currently. And Colette Davis, who was a local PE teacher. So we managed to uncover all these amazing local women that they could speak to and they were inspired by. We also uncovered some collections we didn't know we had. So in this photo you can see Molly Phillips' ice skating dress. She competed in the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, as an ice skater. And this beautiful dress was lurking in our collections and we didn't know about it until we started researching for this exhibition. It had been catalogued without any sort of specific information, and it was only when our collections assistant went and got it out that he saw the additional photographs that were with it and realised who it belonged to. So that's been an amazing part of the exhibition. And within the exhibition, the films are showing the interviews that the young people did, and also there's a space for people to tell us about more amazing sports people in Carmarthenshire that they think we should be talking to. So I will now let you hear in their own words what they got out of the interview. This is a short film that they made as part of the project to give to the Sporting Heritage Network as part of the evaluation. So I'll just play that for you now.
So the Smashing Boundaries project is an exciting new sporting heritage project which is designed to highlight the incredible achievements of sportswomen within Carmarthenshire. What we aim to do through this project is to excite and inspire a young generation of girls to take up sports within the county, to connect local sports clubs, leisure centres and other organisations with the project, so that we can celebrate our sporting heritage both past and present.
I heard about smashing boundaries from my media teacher, but I found that it would be an opportunity not only to develop my own filming techniques and hopefully be able to do interviewing myself, but also to learn about the history of women's sports in Carmarthenshire, as I hadn't really heard of them.
I think traditionally within museums, we quite often hear from male voices. History is told and retold through men and through successful men as well. So it's really important for museums to again readdress that balance and to start showcasing the contributions of women throughout history in every field.
Seeing an opportunity that would help me not only with journalism and interviewing, but also would discuss things like the underrepresentation of women in sports, I just thought it'd be a brilliant opportunity. And I really hope that this does inspire young people, young women specifically, to just follow what they really care about. Because I think it's just sad to think that there's so many young girls out there who aren't following their passions because they think that they don't have a chance because it's a male-dominated sport.
And I think this is particularly important for Carmarthenshire because traditionally we're a county that's been dominated by male sports. There's some incredible achievements of Welsh rugby and football, but quite often, as I say, these are dominated by men. What we know is that there are real incredible stories of women who have contributed a huge amount to sports in general, be it male or female, and quite often they've competed against and out-competed men. And from a social perspective, I think it's really important to include diverse narratives and again have a wide range of diverse voices represented within the community.
Dwi'n gobeithio bydd chwalu lluniau yn rhoi'r gallu i pobl sylweddoli bod menwod gallu gwneud popeth. Bod menwod mewn chwaraeon dim yn digwyddiad newydd, a fod maen nhw'n gwneud e am fel cannoedd o flynyddoedd, a hefyd fod pobl fel ni, pobl pob dydd, gallu gwneud e.
Smashing Boundaries is an amazing project. I think it will bring so much to the table from awareness, and it will give opportunities to learn.
So it would be brilliant if something like this would help even one little girl to actually follow what she wants to do and follow her passions in sport.
I've learnt about some amazing women who have done things I've never heard of, but I'm actually so glad that I have.
So the Smashing Boundaries project
So that was them speaking in their own words about the project. They were amazing, and I really hope that we can keep some of them on board to mentor new young curators in the future. Their project's ongoing, so we're looking to work with a new group of young people through the Fusion project with the council to create a virtual exhibition. We're hoping to tour the exhibition, sports clubs, leisure centres and libraries in the county, and hopefully it will have a long life ahead of it and keep doing good as it goes. So thank you for listening to me today, and if you have any questions or want to talk to me, then please go ahead and email me and I'll be happy to speak.